It is Thursday once again, boys and girls. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Red Baron, and with me on Thursdays, as usual, here lately is our psychic Veronica Jayne. We'll be talking to her in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to take a look at a few things, kind of let you know a little bit about us. If you guys are new to the live stream, thank you very, very much. Whoops, got a little hiccup on the phone there. If you would like to know a little bit more about us, we'd love to have you join us at fibbycharts.com. And of course, we do have a free Discord, and that is at the Unfair Advantage chat, and you can see the link for that in our live stream description, and that way it's probably the fastest, easiest way to get to us. So give me just a couple of seconds of silence here. Go ahead, if you guys are watching live stream delay, go ahead and fast forward. You're not missing anything. We always do this so we can kind of blast out and let the world know we're live. So give me a couple minutes of radio silence and we will be right back. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for that. Always got to take a little couple minutes here to let the world know that I'm alive because I'm a lonely, lonely man and I need all the attention I can get. So, okay. All right, so with me tonight, as usual, this is Thursday. This is our woo-woo night, and with me is the lovely and talented Veronica Jayne. How you doing, Veronica?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic. I do the best on Thursdays because you're here with me. So let's take a look and see what's going on in the world. So we have a little pre-show talk. We always kind of discuss a few things, and she just got off a reading with a client. So tell me a little bit about what you're talking about. What's the pressing issue of the day?
We were talking about Australia a lot, and this is because he happens to live there, and he has some friends that are concerned about what's going on around them, what's going on in the economy. The weather got a little weird on them. I think they had a tornado, so that was interesting. Not exactly a tornado kind of country.
I was going to say, is that a major thing? And dust devils and cyclones, I would imagine, but I didn't know there was tornadoes necessarily in that part of the world.
Yeah, neither did they, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so one of the things that keeps coming up in my readings in general is a cattle problem in Australia.
Right.
And I don't see why there's a cattle problem. People don't generally ask me why. They ask me what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. They don't ask why. Just fine with me. I don't care either way. But the question was, basically what's going on in the Australian economy over the next year. And one of the things I saw was cattle. And I saw a lot of really beautiful, beautiful animals, beautiful cattle, beefers. And they were in a huge corral. And they were trying to get into another corral. They were trying to move. And they couldn't because they were trying to get through this gate. And there was only one gate that they could go through. And they were just squeezed shoulder to shoulder trying to wiggle their way into this one gate. And hardly any of them could get through. It was like they were stuck. Mm-hmm. So he was telling me, he's like, yeah, we have a lot of people, a lot of ranchers wondering why they can't sell their cattle. What's the problem?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
as we were discussing before the show, you weren't aware that there is a trucking issue there. That a lot of these truckers have just parked their cars or parked their rigs alongside the road, and they're just in protest. They're not having it anymore. So that could very easily represent a bottleneck in the shipping of going from farm to market or from farm to slaughterhouse,
Yeah, that
amongst
makes
many
sense
other
to
things.
me.
Yeah. So I'm glad to hear within that reading that you're not forecasting anything like a food illness or like any kind of disease, or is that didn't play into anything that you came up with, just simply a supply problem or an issue.
No, the animals were beautiful, healthy, strong, full grown, mature, a lot of energy, healthy. They looked great.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. All right. So going further in that, so let's stay on Australia for a while because this is pretty much the powder keg that's going to set the whole thing off for us. So there's some other issues we discussed, such as housing. You mentioned housing in our conversation.
Yeah, I think, and I don't remember what the question was, and it's kind of good. I literally just got out of bed, ran in here with a cup of tea, and started this call because when I do readings, my memory fades rather quickly. It's like waking up from a dream and you sort of vaguely remember what it was about. But I remember he asked us a question about housing, and I saw houses like dropping off the edge of a cliff like little Legos being tossed off the side of a table.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of them just like raining Legos, raining all these houses that were falling. And it looked like people were losing their homes. It looks like they were over leveraged, maybe they lost their jobs, the economy went the wrong way on them, and they couldn't keep up with their debt load, and they couldn't pay for their houses, and it looks like the bank took the houses back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we've all seen that coming. I think we've seen the start of that coming here in the Americas. So that comes as little surprise. What we see going on there is no doubt going to find its way to our shores as well. So
yeah. What's sad was I saw the banker sitting across from the table, and he had a pie, and he was dividing up the pie, and he gave them a slice, and the people were like, "Oh, good! I just need this little bit. I just need this little bit," and it was the little piece of pie that was left in their home. I'm assuming the equity in their home, and the banker said no. And he reached across and he grabbed the pie. He didn't grab the plate. He grabbed the pie, squished the pie through his fingers, and grabbed it all back, and then went back and took the crumbs.
I'm laughing as a former real estate investor that lost well over $36 million after 9/11 because the symbolism could not be more spot on. I mean, believe me, that's exactly what it feels like when bankers take your houses from you or they take stuff from you. That is exactly the way it feels. So I don't think there's any ambiguity in that reading.
Yeah, that was really sad because the look on that poor man's face, like, my house.
Right.
I don't have anything. I need something so I can start over. And these people are left with nothing.
Yeah.
Not even crumbs. Not even crumbs.
So that leads us to civil unrest. A lot of stuff going on in the news. There's a lot of I get so very little news because they've boxed me out on YouTube. They pretty much deem me unworthy of any. I've lost about 25 of my favorite news channels, and I get most of my news from our group at the unfairadvantage.chat actually. And so I'm seeing some stuff that's going on in Australia. I'm hearing, of course, obviously a lot of I'd say probably 5% of our members are from Australia, so I hear directly from them. But they're starting to take to the streets already now. So you had seen something as far as civil unrest goes.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, everything I see is in images and what represents that. So I still see pipes, garden hose. It looks like a mob. Kind of a mob mentality. It's not organized. It's not like it's its own political party. These people are just ticked off.
Right.
I even see the fighting in the governmental powers that be. I saw one woman in a red dress or whatever she represents.
Now I wanted to talk to you about her because you had mentioned her before, and I immediately picked up when you said this time in our pre-talk when you mentioned that woman again. You mentioned the first time. She had been hit in the head. This time you're telling me it's a little bit worse. So do you view that as being some symbolic of some sort of possible state or condition of things or a region or something like that? She's
Yeah, I mean, it's this time I saw her, she had a bruise on her jaw, like somebody punched her.
Mhm.
Her head was cracked open and she was bleeding more profusely. I mean, she looked a hot mess. At least before, she looked like she had some dignity and she was kind of a woman in a nice suit. Now I'm like, her suit doesn't look that nice anymore.
Interesting.
And her, her knees are scraped up and her shirt is torn, and their guy next to her, and his collar is turned up and his tie is off and his shirt is torn, and they are just, it's a big melee. But these are the government officials fighting with each other.
Okay.
And then also what I saw in the reading today was that these guys are coming at it like individuals, even in their own parties. They're not cohesive at all.
No.
They want to be heard. They want everyone to hear what they have to say. They don't want to listen to what anyone else has to say, and they don't want to do anything to solve the problem together. It's like every man for himself.
Right. How do you see? I guess what's the question I would want to ask here? How do you see this progressing between now and the end of the year? Not that the end of the year is any kind of mile marker for the end of anything, but by the end of the year, in the next 90 days, how do you see, for Australia specifically, do you see this getting to the point where it's escalated to just all out, brother against brother, or?
Let me see. I see the brothers yelling at each other, but I don't see them, well, and maybe they are a little bit of a melee there. But that part doesn't look too serious, like even family members. It looks like it's more, I do see people running around in the streets. I do see them throwing things, kind of in the riot sort of sense, pushing cars, doing that sort of thing. I see run-ins and clashes with government authority, whether they are the police or some kind of national militia type group.
Mm-hmm.
I saw blockades where people were stopped from traveling from one area to another, so they get halfway to where they're going, and then they have to turn around.
Right, and that's happening already, as I understand it. In Australia, as I understand, there's already, I don't know what the level of passport need is, but it's to that point where people can't freely come and go. They're kind of requested to stay in their house, from my understanding. If we have any Australians in the house here, please comment in our comment here, because I am watching the comments roll up as I'm listening to Veronica. One question that does come to mind is, do you see this, another version of this? There's a lot of speculation that eventually this is going to get down to, well, a lot of different types of factions against each other, but one of them is going to be the masker, or the vaxxers versus no vaxxers. Do you anticipate that that's going to start to ramp up here in the next 90 days? Each heaping blame of being the problem.
Yeah, I see them screaming at each other. They're both very angry, and there's a lot of misunderstanding about vaxxers versus anti-vaxxers and their role in making the virus proliferate and such like that. It just looks like they're just so internally angry, and they are so emotional. They're really not paying attention to any kind of solutions that would actually fix this rather quickly, that have nothing to do with a vaccine.
One of I assume him to be Australia, says we can't travel more than 5 kilometers away from our house in Australia. The police have used checkpoints, so there you go, as well as number plate recognition. Yeah, that's a real thing. They have that here in Chicago. If you drive down the road, you might think you're getting past the cops. They have scanners in their cars that actually they'll turn around and, if you're, for example, if you're driving, not to derail this conversation, but I had a buddy, my sign off, be safe, be good, and be good at it, comes from a very good friend of mine who used to drive without a license all the time. And he could never drive through Chicago and not get busted, because they have scanners that scan license plates. And if you're driving down the road, you think you're going to get past that cop. You're not. And so that's going to be integrated on a much larger basis here in America. So not surprising to see that they have that. And so that's going to be another way to keep you out of your cars and off the street and stuff like that. Okay, so anything more you want to say on that? Didn't mean to derail you there.
Yeah, it's just that there isn't actually a reason, it looks like, for them to have these restrictions in place. Like, they're not even using the COVID or the vaccine thing as a reason for keeping people in place after a while. They've just decided to do it.
Right. just to add to the distraction and the confusion.
Yeah, it just seems like they just sort of arbitrarily decided this is the way it is. And the guy that I saw, he's like, but I have my passport, I have my vaccine, I just need to go over here to do such and such. And they're like, no. Well, why not? No. And then they end up dragging him out of his car, and it's a problem, and all that too. But there's no reason for it. They just haven't decided to take a universal approach to this problem and look around at other countries and figure out how they solved it, because they could wipe this out in the next 2 weeks if they wanted to.
Certainly. That does lead me to a question that was posed earlier. I kind of threw some anybody got any questions for Veronica out to my mods. One of them asked is, do you see a point at which, basically, we'll just use Australia as a jumping off, do you see a point at which everybody just gets the collective consciousness of, all right, that's it, we've had it, and it actually, real change comes from a collective group coming together? Do you see that ever happening, or happening anytime soon? Or will they keep us on confusion until the end of time?
No, that's not going to happen. It's not going to be till the end of time. It looks like, hold on, let me look at the people, let me look at the government, because there's two different things going on there. It seems like in certain spots and in certain areas, people are like, done. We're just done. We're not doing it.
Right. We're seeing that in various states here in America, Florida being one of them.
Yeah, we're done. We're done with it. Enough of that. The numbers do not justify the action.
No.
And the treatment that we're doing doesn't make any sense, because there's other treatments out there and we're just not doing it. And it looks like there's going to be a couple places that are a powder keg, a couple places that are going to be really messy and violent. And in other places, people are I see them kind of going around the checkpoints. It's like they're making new inroads, and they just, this is how we're doing it. We're just going to start driving around. And then it looks like the police, or whoever these checkpoint people are just kind of disgusted with it. Like, I can't keep up with this. What's the point?
Right.
They don't want to get hurt. And they just it looks like a couple of them just sort of casually turn a blind eye. And then there's like this little pathway around the back of them that people are using. So that's going to happen in one area where they just we're just going to go around, and we're just look the other way, because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Right. Whatsoever.
Another one of our viewers here is in Queensland. He said, we can travel and move freely, but you have to wear a mask. New South Wales is apparently a much worse area for them. So, all right. Well, been kind of quiet on the volcano front. Have you? I know when we first started talking about that, you were rather alarmed by how fast things were kind of ramping up. That seems to. Have you gotten anything this week?
Nope. I'm just being a little more mindful, because I kind of blew it off for years,
Right.
And that is one of the hot spots. It's supposed to be Turkey goes first, and then Mount Vesuvius and Mount Etna erupt together within a couple days of each other, and then the Canary Islands go, and after that, it's everybody for themselves.
I see. All right.
So there's a certain order things go in.
So write that down, kids.
Write it down.
Write it down.
That's in Dr. Douglas Cottrell's book called The New Renaissance, and it's a good 350 pages on different countries and what's going to happen inside those countries, and where the water is going to and where it's shifting.
Yeah, that's a major concern for a lot of the people that are in our group is, am I going to be underwater, or, if I move, am I going to find myself under, 50 to 100 feet of water, or am I going to be safe? So the idea of moving is one thing. The idea of moving somewhere better is a completely different discussion. So that would be worth it simply for that. And I'll tell you, actually, guys, when I get done with this broadcast, I will put a link to that book in the description. So one more time, what is the name of the book, Veronica?
This is by Dr. Douglas James Cottrell with a C, and it's called The New Renaissance.
The New Renaissance. All right. Well, if you guys want to check the description box after we get off live stream, I will have a hot link to that, to some places you can pick that up. So, New Renaissance. Okay. All right. So let's get on to some crypto here, boy. We're kind of hopefully, or what promises to be, on the cusp of some very interesting week. Would you agree?
I think so. It feels like everyone is kind of eyeballing it to the side and like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this.
I'll tell you what, it's been a pretty quiet 48 hours. It's been very dead, very dead. But just a couple of hours before coming on with you, things are starting to take a downward turn here. I hot rodded my monitor now, so I'm able to watch about 36 different cryptos at one time. So they're all. It's kind of nice because you can kind of see how the trends move. What we are seeing is we are seeing Ethereum and Quant are both pumping right now, or we're somewhat coming up and bucking the trend a little bit. That's somewhat changed. Ethereum's looking strong. Everything else is not so much. So let's talk about Ripple in the case. Anything new on that?
Well, let's see. Let me see if I still see them kicking the can down the road. Okay, so they were kicking the can down the road. Now it looks like they're scooping up the football and they're trying to run away.
SEC or Ripple? Ooh.
Yeah, that's definitely the SEC. Ripple
Right.
has got to chase them down and tackle them, basically.
Please.
So the SEC is trying to kick the can down the road. They're trying to run away with it. They're always trying to do something with it. Don't misunderstand. They have a lot of personal motives involved. There are the powers that be motives involved. So they're trying to sort this out. This is basically how they're trying to sort out the rest of cryptocurrency as well. Kind of what they decide on this is what they want to paint the rest of the crypto space with, how they want to treat it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using this as kind of as their experiment to see how far they can go, what they can do with it, and how they can use it, because there are some very powerful people and families who want to wrangle this in and get a grip on it. They don't want it to get away from them, but they haven't figured out what to do with it yet. They haven't figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
They're still kind of brainstorming, figuring out what they're going to do with the whole new reset thing. They know there's a reset, but it's not showing up the way they thought it would.
Okay.
That makes any sense. And Ripple's kind of at the forefront of all that. It's a piece of it.
Right. A big piece. So in our last discussion, we talked about this somewhere between. We'll just box this as saying between the 16th and the 22nd. Relevant to this case and XRP, are you still feeling good that this is going to result in an upward motion within this week?
With Ripple and XRP?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like the SEC is trying to do something a little sneaky. And I literally see them like grabbing the ball and sneaking off like a kid that's cheating in a game. So it doesn't look like a resolution. It looks like more shenaniganery to me.
Uh-huh.
I would like to say it's resolving, and it should have been resolved. Should have been resolved quite a while ago. There was no reason to drag it on like this.
Right.
But this is very artificial and very deliberate.
Well, certainly.
Yeah. So until they have nowhere else to go with it, and they're running into the walls, and they're having it pulled out of their hands by no choice, and they've done everything that they can do to block it, then they'll let it go and kind of walk away like, I didn't want this anyway. I wasn't interested anyway.
That's kind of what I've said, is they're both going to come out. I'll tell you what, something dawns on me to have you take a look at. Can you explore the mind of the judge that's handling this case? I think little is being said about her, and really this comes down to her. I've heard rumors that she's not too amused by the SEC and some of the stuff they're doing, but could you take a gander at her?
Can you give me her name?
Can somebody do that for me? Because I'm sorry, I don't dig deep. If Patty XRP is in my group, we might have to come back to that question. If Patty XRP is in my group, I know he knows this backwards and forward. Can anybody do some really quick homework and give me the name of the judge on this case? I know it's easily attainable, but I don't have...
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling her presence, though. She is, I would say, she is not amused.
That's the gist that I get.
Yeah.
There you go. Sarah, S-A-R-A, Netburn.
Netburn?
Sarah Netburn. Or I'm sorry. Well, somebody. Okay, okay. Judge Netburn. Yeah. I'm getting so many different. Okay, guys, give me something official here. Let's just go with Netburn and see what we get on that. Sarah
Okay.
Netburn. Yeah, Sarah Netburn. We look like we got a consensus on that. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay. Actually, Netburn. And we said XRP, right?
Mm-hmm. Ripple case.
Okay, give me a second here. Okay. I see her. Okay.
Can you describe her disposition towards the SEC?
Looks like she has to tread a little bit carefully.
In what way?
Like she's kind of eyeballing them out the side a little bit, like, let me be correct in everything I do. Because I don't want to say she's like trying to brush it off her shoulder, like, get off of me. But it feels like she's getting some, I don't want to say pressure. It's not pressure. It's like people are eyeballing her.
Oversight. Well,
yeah.
The whole world is watching. That's for sure.
The world is watching, but it almost seems like she's getting a disapproving or jaundiced eye from some of the powers that be. Mm-hmm. And she's like, leave me alone. Let me do my job.
Yeah, that begs the next question I was kind of leading into. So interesting that you should phrase it like that, because the next question I was going to have is there somebody over her that might be steering her decisions or swaying her in any way?
Oh, I just saw her jerk her arm away like somebody was trying to grab her sleeve, and she just like ripped her arm away like, get off of me. She's not feeling it. I'm not saying that they're not there and they're not trying to do that and they're not trying to lean in and whisper, but it's almost like she's kind of leaning away from them and kind of covering her eyes with her hands like, I can't believe I got involved with this crap. This is some BS. And get off of me.
Okay. All right. Can you describe her disposition towards who she favors more?
I heard bring it, which means that you want me to rule in your favor, you better do your job. You better bring me the information, you better bring me the evidence, you better bring me something solid, because what I rule on is going to be establishment.
Yeah. Well, this is going to set a precedence for all things following. This one's for all the marbles, literally.
Yeah, and it looks like she's pretty serious about it too. It doesn't seem like she's sneaky or rubbing her hands, or I don't see anyone's hands in her pocket.
Right. That was my third question.
Glancing down at her pocket and looking at it, but I don't see anyone putting their hands in her pocket. I don't see. Let me see. I don't see her putting her hands into anyone else's pocket. It looks like she's just taking it very, very seriously. And if you want my signature, you better do your job. And you better have it written and correct. Because I see the documents stacked up and there better not be like one red mark on it. Otherwise, you're not getting my seal of approval.
Okay.
So do your job and bring it.
Okay.
Bring your A game.
Okay. Excuse me. Let's see. I had a couple other notes I wanted to go. Yeah, that's pretty much all right. So let's buzz through a few of these. And I'll let you go. We're clicking off time here. I want to be short and sweet here a little bit.
We're good.
So let's go back to our normal format here. You got your dowsing tools?
I do.
All right. So let's do it our normal. Now we were talking about we didn't finish our conversation here before the show. Time-wise, it was suggested to me that we, rather than just kind of airy-fairy pick a spot on a calendar which doesn't show in the ether quite as well as like the events like we were discussing. We didn't kind of get any resolution on this other than using our next discussion next Thursday as a time marker. Are you okay with that?
We can give it a whirl and see what happens.
Okay.
Give it a whirl. Why not?
All right. I'm game if you are. Okay, so that would be the 21st. So, all right. So, if you want to see it as our next call at 9 o'clock p.m. my time next Thursday, but I'll just refer to it as the 21st. But if you want to mentally place it as our next phone call.
Okay.
All right. So give me the high that you see, or let's do it this way. Give me the low that you see for XRP between now and our next discussion next Thursday on October 21st.
Okay. So XRP.
Current price right now is $1.11.
Okay, the new low, or the low.
Mm-hmm. Between now and next Thursday.
Well, let me see here. Let's start. Is it going to go up or down? It will go down, it looks like, from where it is today. How far down? Seems kind of low. Hold on. Seems like $1.03.
Yeah, that sounds about okay. So $1.03. I will update these charts, guys. All the chart subscribers, I will update these charts and put on Veronica's calls onto the charts for us. So, $1.03, huh? Okay, between now and next week. All right. Okay, we're gonna try to do this, guys. We're gonna try and do this week by week because if we get out too far, it gets to be a bit of a mess. So, just to kind of alleviate some of the confusion for you guys, we're pretty much doing this on a week by week basis. We're not trying to call this the ultimate low. We're not trying to call it the ultimate high. We're looking for these as swing trades. I mean, I know where I expect this to go. If we trend 2 or 3 weeks in a row down, we're pretty much heading the right direction. So now let's do it the other side of this if we can. What do you see for the high for this week between now and next Thursday?
I don't know if it's going to do much higher than it is now. Let me see. I see a brick, so it's kind of dragging, so maybe more of a sideways motion than up. Let me see. Maybe $1.14 if we're lucky.
That would be about that would be to be expected. All right, so I won't bother you with XLM to very much to the depth of detail, but same question applies because pretty much they track together. So let me give you where one goes, the other goes. So same question between now and next Thursday. What can you see the low for XLM being? Current price 0.361. 36. Yeah, let's just say 36 cents.
Seems like it wants to trend downward more than upward.
Right.
Let's see. Doesn't look like it goes too low. Looks like 33, 32.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, 33, 32, right in that range, right in our green box range. All right.
Yeah, 32, 31, somewhere in there.
Same question for the high. Do you see anything? What do you see for the high between now and next Thursday?
Maybe 38.
It could be pretty decent. 38. All right, that sounds like a bit of a bounce. All right.
I have a lot of stellar. It would be great if it like tripled. Like, that would be
we're watching
fantastic.
That. Yeah, we're watching XLM, and again, you guys that are new on the live stream, I am a big advocate of XLM simply because it's just kind of like I don't want to say the poor man's, but it really is the poor man's XRP, and it's also a hell of a lot easier to get while this lawsuit is going on. Really, honestly, anything that XRP does, you're going to find a lower version of it, but the same generalized move happening for XRP that happens for XLM, but you're going to get a higher rate of return because this is cheaper on XLM. So big fanboy of XLM right now. So
He said fanboy.
yeah. All right, so Theta is really kind of fallen off my favorite radar, but we have a lot of viewers that like Theta. Current price right now is let's just call it $5.97. Between now and next Thursday. What do you see for that?
I just saw it go up, down, up. So, what does that mean? Let's see. Let's do the low. $5.89.
Okay. 589 puts it. Well, we got a little bit of resistance right about there, so it's very possible. That's not very far off. So that would indicate you probably. What do you see on the high end for the week?
Everything seems to be dragging like a brick on the ground over the next few days. I don't see much going on here. It's
kind of.
I hear I see resistance, but I hear. What do you call there's another R word. It's not resistance. It's resentment.
that would be the investors.
Yeah,
we're supposed to be getting killer returns off of Theta. Theta did really well, and then it just parked its butt on the shelf. It's been that way for about 6 months. It's really infuriating.
That.
It's really
okay, did I answer your question? But I don't remember.
No, go ahead and take another shot at it. So, what do you see for the high between here and next
thank
Thursday?
You.
Yeah.
Maybe 603.
603. All right.
Mm-hmm.
603. Same thing for T-Fuel. T-Fuel is kind of one of my favorite things to kind of swing trade, and so it's easy when you can kind of get it on the low, because when it moves, it puts profit on the table real fast. Right now, T-Fuel is sitting at 29 cents. What do you see for that between now and next Thursday?
Okay, T-Fuel. Okay, you said, what are we doing, high or low?
Let's start with the low. So we're at 29 cents right now.
I'm getting 24.
24? Okay. Between now and next Thursday, what do you see for a high?
Like 34.
34?
34, 35.
Well, that's a money play, guys. Just to kind of show everybody that's looking using our AI charts here. So she's talking about a drop right onto our double AI line right here, which is a drop of, that's pretty substantial. About 16%, 16, 17%, about 16% drop. That's worth paying attention to, guys. So keep an eye on that one. If you guys are able to do buy orders or something like that, that would not be a bad bounce play, because basically that puts us right in a very TA-friendly zone, dropping right to the bottom of that box and bouncing up. It's fully what I expect to have happen. All right. So you gave me the high end on that is 34 cents. Okay.
Yeah, like 33, 34. It kind of broke. It got soft at 33, and then 34 it was completely stopped.
All right. So I hate to bring this one up, but got to do it. XYO.
Yeah.
XYO just fell out of bed.
Weird.
What the hell, man?
I don't know, dude. I saw that symbol next to my bed when I woke up. I'm like, I try to be obedient when things come to me like that and not question it. So I just put like $100 on it. I'm like, okay, well, I'll talk to you in a few years. Let me know how it goes.
I'll let you tell me what you think, and then I'll share with the class what I think, because it's again, she can't, guys that are watching the show here, she can't see my screen. She's not on a computer right now. My thoughts are pretty much set in stone here on the charts right now. But go ahead, give me your shot. So we're looking at 0.0295 XYO. So 29,
So
0.0295. You have to kind of go out that far.
Okay, so 295.
So what do you see the low being for this
Okay.
week?
Nice. 4, 3, 1, 5, 9, 0. 287.
287. 287. All right. 287. Let's see where that puts us at. Yeah, I could put us down. All right. So that puts us just a little bit, well, pretty much touching off about where we're at right now. So the bigger question is what do you see for the next week between now and next week this time for a high? You see
Okay,
it?
visually what I see is a brick with a slightly up-tipped end.
For the week?
Yeah, but let me see if I can find a number on that. It looks like a .030.
All right.
Yeah, so something .03.
Okay. So I'm going to ask one more question on this. When this comes up, and there's a reason I'm asking this, the people can see my charts here, know what I mean by. I have a marking I just made on my charts. People who are subscribers know what that means. When this comes up, do you see this being a pretty explosive move?
I would say the brick is at, okay, so there's the 90-degree mark, the 45. It looks like it's at about, let me see. Like at about a 33-degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the angle it's at going upward. It doesn't look like it's super sharp, but it is an upward angled brick.
Okay. All right. For the short term. Okay.
Yeah, just short term.
Okay. All right.
Like drag, $2.
So, let's do Shiba here, because that's kind of something we better be discussing. So we'll come back here on this. We'll discuss this in the. Let me take a break here real quick. So you guys that are new to the live stream, thank you very much for spending some time with us. Go ahead and join us at the unfairadvantage.chat. You can see that link in the description to our free Discord. If you'd like to subscribe to our AI-powered charts, you can go ahead and go to fibbycharts.com and just simply go to subscribe now. Or if you'd like to know what you get in the different packages and stuff like that, you can see all the different types of charts that I'm using here on the live stream. And we'd love to have you be a part of what we do. If you don't understand a darn thing about crypto, we'd love to teach you how to get in on this amazing, amazing opportunity of a lifetime. So we actually have the lessons to teach you how to make the spaghetti on the screen that you're looking at. So if you have any technical, if you're technically unsavvy and you'd like to kind of up your game a little bit, I'd love to teach you how to get in on this. So join us at the unfairadvantage.chat for sure. All right, so let's take a look at Shiba here real quick. Get down here. All right, there we go. So what's the puppy doing this week?
That's a good question, because those visuals are super important.
Because I'm about ready to smack it with a rolled up newspaper because I'm not happy what it's doing to my carpet right now.
Aww. So last week, when I originally saw Shiba months and months ago, it was a very tiny micro poodle puppy, about the size of a rat. I mean, you know how tiny those are. Not even a rat, like a gerbil. It was very, very small, very cute. Then it grew, and it looked almost like a regular puppy, and it had its own little sweater on. And now when I see it, it's a super fluffy puppy, and it's bigger, but it's jacket is too small, like it's outgrowing its clothes. Its little vest is too tight.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of fur sticking out, so he's super fluffy, if that makes any sense. Like if you wash a dog and they turn into little drowned rats because they have a lot of hair, and then you fluff them up and they look really big, but underneath they're very skinny.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how he looks to me.
Now currently, so you know, here we are at 0.40. Very important, 40. So you said in our last chat we could very well gain another 0. That freaked a lot of people out.
Yeah, because I saw the 0 flip, but it flipped right back where it was. It didn't stay gone. It was a quick flip, and it was like spinning on. You know how you take a quarter and you spin it?
Yep.
But instead of on its tip, it was on the side, so it came down, flipped, and then it came back up. I do see this coin. So first of all, we know the dog is too fluffy. It wasn't fluffy like that before. It's too fluffy. Its jacket was too small. Now it's wearing at least a jacket that fits, but it's still a little bit fluffy. It's walking around. It doesn't have as much energy as it did before. And sometimes I visualize it on the stairs, and it looks like it's going to kind of sit on the stairs and put its head on its paw, and it's just kind of looking around and it's yawning. Like it's not doing much. Like you're going to like circle around and take a nap on the rug for a while.
Right.
And then we'll see what he does. Because there's been a few times where I'm like, oh, the puppy's running upstairs, and then I look on my phone and Shiva's going up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the puppy doing? Now this one I see is it's kind of got a weird pattern because I'm looking at it over time. I see like, what do they call platforms?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the desert, you see like a platform and it's bumpy at the top, and then it'll just drop down.
Plateaus.
And then you'll have a what?
Plateaus.
And then it comes back up, drops down a little bit, and then it makes a steady climb upward before it kind of does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it drops back down, but this time not as far.
Right.
So it's going to have this weird plateau pattern that it does.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are those people? Hold on. It looks like there's like some directional arrows on it by what they want it to do and what kind of, like they're trying to create a map with this coin. And it looks like they're designing the map of how they want this to go, which I've never seen before for this. Interesting. So I guess somebody has plans for this one to make it big or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But careful, because I do see people falling off the cliff and the coins falling out of their pocket.
Right.
At times, because this one is going to be a bit of a jagged ride. You know, they're going to hold steady for a while, and then it's going to, you know, it'll go up. Somebody's going to take profits like big time, and it's going to knock the stool out from under your feet.
Right. Before I hold that thought, because I do want to interject this while it's still on my mind. My 21 group, which I won't get into that. You guys are fans of the show, know what I'm talking about. There is an element of this that is used for funding, let's just say, illicit projects within the government, and that's been long suspected. And so there will undeniably be a pump in this. If the powers that be are using this as kind of an alternate source of income. The one thing I would caution all of you guys is don't get sucked into the narrative that this is going to be world changing and everybody's going to be kumbaya, because there's a lot of very dark people involved in this project that are going to have a hand in pumping this up. And when they're done, you're going to be the funding source. So do not be greedy and watch this thing and hold out hope for years and years and months in the future. It'll do well, but it's going to have radical pullbacks as I see it. So when we get these moves, all you have to do is go back and look at the history of the way this thing is pumped and dumped already. That's a pretty mighty drop you're looking at right there. You may not realize how much that is. That's a 42% drop right there. That's enough to give you nosebleeds standing still. So this is going to look like nothing. When this one drops and goes, it's very likely it could come down to about that level right there, which from where we're at now if we break that second resistance, we could come down 20%, which ain't no thing for crypto to go that low. If the whole market is going to come down, I would imagine this would easily do this, and then on down to even lower. So the question to you would be, what do you see for the week between now and our next discussion next Thursday?
Okay, what's the puppy doing? Let's look. I saw it go up 2 steps, but it's looking up at the steps like it's dark up there and it's scary up there and it doesn't want to go up. But it did go up 2 steps. So what do those 2 steps mean? I have no idea. What's the price again?
4 zeros, 0.000026. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
4 zeros, 26.
All right, let's take a look. 4 zeros and a 26. It looks like 2829, somewhere in there. It'll be the high.
Okay.
It's going to retrace a little bit up there. Yeah, I see it taking that 3rd step and kind of leaning forward and wagging its tail on that 3rd step.
Now, from where we're at now, currently, give me the low for this week.
Sure.
As I see this, obviously, it's screaming down as I'm looking at the technicals right now. So 0.000026 from here. Where do you see it going this week? How much lower do you see it going this week?
Let's see. Looks like 2-1.
Okay. All right. 121.
I see him going down to the next landing, and I'm not sure how many steps are between the landings.
Yeah. So you're saying point. All right. So you're seeing it 0.000021 is where you're at.
Yeah, it could go that low.
That
He looks like he's going hesitating and kind of dancing down the stairs in a funny sort of way. Like he doesn't really want to touch him. He's jumping down with 2 paws instead of with 4.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that means. Not a very balanced way to do it.
So as I'm drawing here on screen, guys, that's about what I've been anticipating. So you guys that already know how my charts are read, this dual AI line right here, this green and bronze line right there is pretty much the money. So she's spot on with what I would tell you I would expect. Spot on. So, all right, not good. Not going to be a good week in the doghouse. So, all right. So hang on just a second here. Let me get on to a different one here. So let's do a couple more and I'll cut you loose. So one we haven't talked about is Reef Finance. It's so I wouldn't call it a banker's coin, but it's got some good money behind it. This one's been enjoying a little bit of a pump this week in light of everything else not doing well. This is Reef, REEF is how it's Reef Finance. Currently it's at 0.023 and a half, 0.0235.
Okay, and what's the question?
Tell me what you see for a low for this week between now and our next conversation on next Thursday.
Yeah, I do see it dipping down a bit, but then it rolls right back up. It's very, very short, quick movement there. And the price you said is 0.023?
0235.
0235. Looks like 240. Looks like it wants to come back up a little bit there. And as far as the low, not. Let's look. Two, 3, 5. It looks like I saw a 2.8 for a low, so that must be what, 2.28?
.028.
0.0228.
Oh, 228. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's definitely low. .0228. Let me track that. See.
Yeah, it's like a quick little bubble down, like when you ride your bicycle over something, you go, whoa, and then it just kind of, it's like a quick temporary thing. It looks like somebody took profits and then they went on their way.
Right in the general area right there. Okay. All right. So the other side of that would be, what do you see for a high for this week between now and next Thursday?
Okay, 236. Well, it looks like 246 is not out of the question.
246.
Let me see. 3, 2, 4, 2, 5. I don't think it makes it to 2, 5.
That sounds about right for the week. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much your operational box right there, guys. Low and high. So, okay. And let's do one more, and then we'll knock it short here. Cardano. Cardano, I don't believe we've ever talked about. We may have, but Cardano currently is at $2.16.
Okay, Cardano.
ADA Cardano.
Okay, hold on, Cardano. Cardano ADA. And what's the question?
Give me the low price between now and next Thursday when we talk again.
$2.09.
Okay. 2.09. Yeah, that'd be about right. Okay. And give me the high between now and next Thursday when we talk again.
I see the symbol of it like shimmering in front of my face, like, I'm so excited. Okay. Calm down. Looks like it might make it to 225 or 224.
224, 225. Okay. Okay. All right. So, you want to take any questions from the audience here, and I'll let you go?
Sure.
All right. So,
Sure.
if you guys got anything here, real quick. So, and again, this is let's kill. I always like to kind of work one of these in here. So, since this is October, we always like to kind of get into the weird woo-woo stuff. We did this last week. It was a big hit. We talked a little bit about stuff. So, Veronica's always dropping stuff on me here when we talk. We talked about shapeshifters. We talked about several things. So, what else you got in your bag of weird you want to talk about?
The bag.
I'll tell you. I'll give you one. One just pops into mind. Somebody asked a question before I went live. They said, "Ask her when we're going to. Are we ever going to get a time where the government's just going to go, hey, listen, this is an alien. This is you know, are we ever, as a population, ever going to interface with aliens?"
We've already done that.
I'm talking about, like, you go to the grocery store and, hey, look, that guy over there. I realize what you're saying, but I'm talking about, like, without the mask, without the, see it, recognize it, everybody knows. Are we ever going to see that, or is that ever just not going to be a thing?
I think when the earth changes come, we might get some help, and we might be able to see some ships. But as a general rule, no, this government already works with them, not to our benefit, of course.
Of course not.
Yeah, they've got agreements with them. They're allowed to take a certain number of people. They're allowed to do a certain number of experiments on people. They're allowed to harvest tissue from us. And because they've given, as our representatives, because they do all those things. Of course, other governments around the world have acknowledged before we did. but there's about 6 or 7 different types of aliens that frequent this planet on a regular basis. A couple of occasional, stragglers popping in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have, they've got their own agenda. And I hear some people going, oh, the aliens, they're wonderful. I've never had a great experience with one. Never even had a good experience with one. So I'm not a fan. I'm not a huge fan, really.
There are, I've never really talked to you about this, but there are other groups that I work with are suggesting that there are 5 basic major places where they come and go from, and they are based around mountains, and one of them is in Australia. And one of the locations is kind of treated as like an R&R place. One is like, a couple of them are mission based for whatever it is they're doing, and one of them is kind of like a repair area. But I'm rather fascinated by that because, and I've told this story many, many times. I've probably told it on air a couple of times. My last girlfriend was Kenyan, a Maasai tribe, and I met her grandfather, who is like 100 some odd years old, and they're right at the right at the base of the mountain there in Kenya, and he told me stories about how he used to play with the star children when he was little. And they'd come and interface. So this is what motivates my question. I mean, clearly they have shown themselves to us before, but I'm wondering, is that ever going to come around again?
I just don't think it's going to come around the way it could and should. I just think it's going to be more of if there's going to be a large mass sighting, it's probably going to be in the face of some tragedy where we get some help from them.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them individually, ones that are not involved in my life personally. I think I told you this about Mount Shasta.
Repeat that again. We kind of flew through that really quick. Give us a dive a little deeper on that, if you would.
Yeah, so I went to Mount Shasta with some friends.
Again, another mountain, right?
Mm-hmm.
They tend to congregate around mountains. That's kind of a thing with them, isn't it?
Yeah, mountains, lakes, large bodies of water. And Mount Shasta is currently the root chakra of the world, so it's very energetic. If you ever get a chance to go up there, I would recommend anyone who's getting married or in a serious relationship, take your significant other to Mount Shasta, because it's the root chakra. It's fundamentally who you are, and everything you need and everything that's about you is exposed. You cannot hide yourself. So if you're wondering about yourself or about somebody else, everything about you is going to be revealed to them, and vice versa. It could be really ugly or really beautiful. So I'm up in Mount Shasta. I go to a restaurant, and I glance over at this boy, and he's beautiful, this little 11-year-old boy. And no, he wasn't even that old. He might have been like 9. He's just beautiful, and his skin was lovely, and he was a strange-looking kid, but he was lovely. And I looked at his family, and they were kind of all weird-looking. The children were all beautiful, of course. And I looked at my friend and I said, what are they? Are they elves? Are they, fairies shouldn't look like that. And
Mm-hmm.
she shook her head no, and she's like, they're aliens. And I was like, oh, right. I was like, got it. So, they packed up their family and then they left the restaurant. But as they walked by us, she said they started walking in like slow motion, and we were sending them messages of love and compassion and light, just like, we're happy you're here. And they were basically immigrants.
I see. So I'm gonna I don't want to shock anybody. So if you don't want to see the sight of little gory, probably not safe for work, I'm gonna post something here. I'm gonna slide a photo over onto the screen. I want you guys. And this photo was released to my 21 group along with some other people, and it is rumored to. I want to get Veronica's take on this publicly. So here it is. So this photo that I'm looking at, Veronica, please describe the entity that I'm looking at. Is this a real thing that I'm looking at?
Come on. I'll be honest, I don't like glancing at aliens because when I connect with them, it's very hard to disconnect.
Granted.
Yeah, so that's one of those things I don't like to be surprised with, because once I connect with them on a psychic level, I don't need them showing up at my house or in readings. My house is clean. My life is clean. My ex is not clean. He is now. I did clean him up. But his father was a radar man back in the Korean War and all that stuff. So he was always like having them on his radar, and he would follow them along. And he and some of the radar guys started having problems with being abducted. Well, it became a generational thing. It was him. It was his kids, which was my husband. It became my daughter. And in the middle of the night, she'd come stand next to my bed. Mommy, the man with the big eyes keeps talking to me and asking me questions. Can I sleep with you? Yep. Get in the bed. So I left all that behind, just so you know. But if you want to send it to me in the off-air time, and I'll just take a quick look.
Okay.
But for me to look at it psychically and connect to it, I'm connecting to them directly.
There is, so you guys are on screen. So there is a related to this. There is a how would I phrase this? So with the I think anyone who's done any kind of research or paid any amount of attention to the stuff that's in the jab. There's all kinds of rumors about what that stuff's doing to people. There has been an influx of black-eyed children being born.
Nope, they're not. Nope.
No?
That's not correct.
Really?
That's not where they come from. Nope. That's a completely different entity from a different dimension.
There was I'm sorry I don't have the video here. That was kind of out of the left field thing. It just popped into my head. One of my people sent me a picture of a baby, and these kids are walking at a ridiculously early age. They're speaking at a ridiculously early age, lifting their head up way earlier than they should.
That's fifth dimensional energy.
Right.
That's a completely different thing.
Uh-huh.
It's because of the shift in the Earth's frequencies. The children that are coming in now are more advanced. And so our educational system is going to be a huge problem for these kids. They only need to be told something once, and they got it. They don't need homework. They don't need you to repeat themselves. They don't need any of that.
Oh, my God. Can I have one of those? I'm a parent of two. Can I have a couple of those? If anyone's listening to the broadcast in outer space, please send me a couple of those, because I wouldn't mind.
Those children being born also... The pregnancies can be awkward for the mother and difficult because usually those mothers are fourth dimensional energy, and you have a different energy from the baby coming through you, and they don't mesh or meet.
I see.
So sometimes those moms have to have their energy fields adjusted, and then they're comfortable in their pregnancy and their birth.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anybody have any questions? We're back to crypto. It's it's October. We always got to kind of put a little of that in. Onto a little funner topic here while we're waiting for some crypto questions. You had thrown me something about mermaids. You kind of just threw that across home plate, and I didn't catch it the last time you told me about mermaids.
Mermaids are part of the remnants. They're part of Lemuria and Atlantis. They were created by us as kind of hybrids or experiments. Mermaids, for the most part, were treated very well, like favorite pets or poodles.
What was the purpose of them? What was the purpose?
Yeah.
Just, hey, look what I made?
Yeah, and Atlanteans were very arrogant like that. Hey, look at this. Hey, let's try this. Why don't we do this? Let's see what happens. And then they created a bunch of problems, difficulties, and eventually almost destroyed the planet. But before they did that, there were some very beautiful creatures, and they did have mermaids. And they would have them, go fishing for them and bring them dinner and stuff like that, kind of pat them on the head. Oh, good job, sweetheart. Thank you so much. And they had pretty good relationships with them because they were pretty and cute, more so than the Bigfoot type remnants that were not so cute and that smelled and that were more aggressive.
I see.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So back to crypto. One of the questions is give me. Let's talk stock market real quick, and then we'll call it a day here. Do you see between now and the end of the year? Do you see what could be defined as a true crash for the stock market? Between now,
it looks more like a low trend, and then it's starting a dip. Like not a dip. What do you call that? Like a
pullback.
A significant downward trend.
Okay.
Like the downside of a V.
Okay.
But first of all, it's more like sliding down, like very slowly sliding, and then you get that urge crash. but I don't know if that urge crash, V part, is going to be at the very end of the year, or is it going to drag itself into the beginning of next year and then drop?
Okay.
Because people don't understand. We're in the ditch right now. We're in the abyss. We
Right.
just don't have the lights turned on so we can see where we are. We're just living our best lives running around going, yeah, the car industry seems to be having trouble, and well, you know, things are just opening back up. It's all because of COVID. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Definitely not. Okay. All right. Well, gang, I'll tell you what. I'm going to let her get. She's about about 2 hours after I am,
I'm at.
or
where
2
am
hours
I?
before I am.
I'm before you.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
at
All right.
7:30.
All
But
right.
I did have a question for the group.
Sure.
This sounds really stupid, but I found the 3 cryptos that I'm focusing on this year. Shiba Inu for me is a long-term hold for me personally. I have XRP and I have Stellar Lumens in my portfolio. They've just been sitting there. There's one more that I'm supposed to have. And if the group has any recommendations for me next week, I'd love to hear it.
Post it in the chat, guys. Post it in the chat. Go ahead and shill your heart out, guys.
Shill your heart out.
I'm personally of the mind that it's probably Solana.
Really?
I'm personally of the mind it's Solana. Solana is a solid project. I mean, this thing will not go. Let's mess with this a little bit. Show me what you think the price of this. So currently Solana it's gotten up there. I mean, I brought it into the group at about $29, and it's been climbing through the crashes, through the pullbacks, you name it. But currently Solana is at we'll just call it $149.85 right now. What do you see it doing for this week between now and our next talk?
It's sweating. What does that mean? Okay, let's look. I don't know what that means.
I have the urge to be funny about everything, so I won't say anything.
Okay. Let's see. Is it going to go up or down? Let's ask. It says it wants to go up this week.
Okay. What do you see the highest being between now and next Thursday?
Let's see. 149, 150, 151, 52, 3. Looks like it wants to go back up to like 156.
156. All right, fair enough. A couple of suggestions that are coming in here, and I would probably agree with XDC is one you might want to take a look at. Not an easy one to get a hold of. It requires its own little weird wallet. It's part of what we call the X. Well, it's not the X twins or X triplets anymore, just the X group. But XDC is going to be a financial coin that's going to be really well, do really well by my anticipation. So it's lagging behind everything else right now. Currently at 11.118, so just under 12 cents. But when this thing finally does come into its own, I think it'll do really well. I wouldn't be surprised to see it up into the mid double digits.
Nice. Thank you for that.
So there's that, and I don't know if there's anything else that's showing up here. XDC, yeah, a lot of people are a lot of people. Well, Dent is another one too. I think we talked about Dent last show. Predominantly though, XDC is one that a lot of people are being behind. So, all right, guys. So we're going to call it a night here. Thank you very much for joining us. So once again, my name is Red Baron, and along with the fabulous and lovely Veronica Jayne. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you'd like to join us and get yourself a little bit of this stuff with the charts, we'd love to have you be a part of us over there at the unfairadvantage.chat. No charge to get in that. You can see the description at the link below. And if you'd like to book a little time with Veronica, we can do that too. You can also join her, and I need to get her to link up in the description box. I'll be doing that here after the show. You can book a time with her if you'd like. And, of course, obviously join us at fibbycharts.com. And until next week, be safe, be good, and be good at it. Peace and hair grease, baby.